YouTubers, this is Layla. Today on this very special episode, I'm going to show you how to rebuild the RC10T rear springs so you don't have literally saggy arms in the back, to show you how to stiffen them. Some of you people who have RC10Ts may see this video a little bit differently. Just keep in mind, this is a video that is going to be done for under my own personal taste and interest. Before we get started, I do want to point out that I did say in my other video I was going to take care of this little saggy problem. Well, today I'm going to do it. So, without further ado, I am going to now switch over to the other part of the cam so you guys get a better look. Pardon me, over here. Sorry about my hair being a mess. I just woke up kind of very interesting. Now, today, I have in front of me are the new set of the red racing springs from Hop Me Up RC in actually out in California. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually open this up to make sure that the springs are good in workable condition, or being in good condition, so I can actually use them. Now, why am I using red springs, you may ask? Well, I find that using red springs are actually a little bit more better to use. Makes the cornering a little bit more easier to do. Also, like if I decide to use it as a jumper, then I don't have to worry about smacking the back. Now, what I love about these are a little bit bigger. These are going to help out a lot between that, and as you can tell, not bad for, I mean, between the front and the rears here, that's not bad. Actually, very good for about 12 bucks. Now, before I get started, what I'm going to use for the lift the back end up on this is I'm going to take an old Proline tire that actually belonged to my Vanessa's lunchbox during the day. Of course, this is going back in 2010. So, as you can tell, I'm going to, before I even remotely do anything with this, before I put it on this whole thing, I am going to start by removing the wheel nut. Now, I would use a ratchet set, but I'm actually using pliers rather than, using pliers rather than a ratchet set because I don't want to damage anything. I mean, you know, given the fact that this thing's been pretty old. Well, now I'm just going to carefully take everything apart. I'm going to just lift that back tire off. Usually what I would do is I just put the wheel nut back onto where the hub is. Now, I'm going to indicate something really quick before I do anything of the sort. As you can tell, if you look very closely, under the shocks right here, you see all this right here? This is the oil that leaked out from the shocks itself. And what I found out was that the seals on it are broken, or could be broken more than one seal. We're going to find that out today. Now I'm going to grab my little special ed Allen key here. Yeah, right? Aren't we all special ed? But anyways, what I'm going to do, just to give you an idea, before I start taking this apart, tools, whatever you use, is going to be totally up to you. I normally just update these two on the bottom here, but I think I'm going to leave these alone versus what I did with the front. Now what I'm going to do here, because this is an easy one to do, is I'm just going to take this Allen wrench. Damn, this is like really super tight. Of course I went the wrong way, but now I'm going to just start taking off the backs. I should use it the other way. That might help. So I'm going to just do this. So I'm just starting to remove with the Allen wrench. Which I'm a little disappointed that the shocks on this are just, you know, they've gone to shit in a handbasket. Pardon my French on that one, but it just seems that, you know, when shocks like this get old after a while, you have to replace the seals. Well, today I'm just going to modify them just a little bit. Now, as you can tell, I'm starting to take off the bottom. Then I'll get to the top. And... you know, and of course, as I'm taking this off, you know, it's still leaking oil. There's so much damage done internally, maybe within the two seals. If that's the case, then I'm kind of bona fide screwed. But let's hope that it's only one seal that's busted, because they did the same thing for the front. However, that being said, now, always a fun part, and is, you know, especially like, you know, getting back into the vintage racing, I have to try to keep things as much as I can fairly up to par. I'm not doing a whole hell of a lot as far as that goes. Now I can actually just take this little bad boy and just kind of undo them. Not good about doing it on angles like this. Normally I don't, but yeah, this is going to be fun. Just seeing how this is all going to come out. So, as you know, like this shock will be a perfect example. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to really say on, right in this ooey gooey goodness of mess. Anyways, I know it's one of the pros and cons about trying to do something and trying to fix the RC10T, redoing the springs. Now, this is the washer and the little screw that actually holds the shock into place. Now we go for the top, which is really interesting because normally I use the pliers. Now, I'm just going to carefully do the best I can here without trying to do too much, because this is something I don't intend to really fully do. So I'm just going to undo this little tidbit right over here. Hopefully I can actually get... oh wait, that is loose enough. I can probably get it with my fingers. Okay, this I'll hold on to, so just keep all that together. Now here comes the fun part. I'm going to use needle-nose pliers. Now, just kind of weasel it back and forth. Just get the shocks out if I can. I mean, it's bad enough I already had disrupted this a little bit before. But since that won't work, now I'm just going to use the Allen wrench to just slightly move it out. Of course. Now, let's see here. Oh, I don't want to lose that now. Yeah, this thing is like super leaking. Not something I normally like to do on these older kits, but I'll be right back. I want to show you exactly how bad it is. As you can tell, I got a little bit on me, but that's no big deal. That always happens from the wear and tear. But if you look and how saturated this whole setup is, that's going to change. Let me go get something to wipe that off, and we can begin the process of cleaning it. Alright, now, as far as this goes, before I do anything else, get a couple things here situated. Now, being as this is turning out to be one of the worst things to ever do, well, here's my little catch pan for the what's left of the oil in the shocks. Well, the fun part is now what I'm going to do with this, before I do anything, I am going to take a little Allen wrench over here. I'm going to sneak that like right in so. And I'm just going to twist the top off. Just like that. Oh yeah, because it's super leaked, there's really no oil in it. As you look, really no oil in the damn thing. There was 30 weight lawnmower oil. Now we know what happened. One of two things: either the seals are all shot, or one of them is, or maybe all of them. Well, right now what I'm doing is I'm cleaning off the top of this, just to keep that there. This, before I go any further, was from the front. As you can tell, the rubber is completely blown. That was because something happened to the front as well. So now, without being that said, now I can begin, apparently. This is going to be a little easier than I thought. I just normally pull this up a little bit here, compress the spring, use these needle nose, and what I do is now I'm going to have to use the Allen wrench to undo this one. Just, damn it. Of course, then I drop the Allen wrench, the little fucker. Anyways, so this is how I'm doing it. Just to loosen it up a little bit to see what's going on. Of course, the entire shock is saturated with oil. And I lose the bottom part of that one. Now, which means I'm having butterfingers today because I'm not able to keep everything together. Which is really not my best thing to do. So as you can tell, I'm going to just clean this off a little bit. Before I go any further, because I don't want to have any dirt getting into the shocks when I start rebuilding. Now, before I start taking that apart, I'm going to make sure I clean off everything. I don't like saturated shocks. I don't like working with dirty stuff, and rebuilding it is another thing I don't want to deal with, of having dirt and everything else inside the new components. I'll show you what I'm going to do by doing a special modification. Now, I'm just going to cut off the excess sprue on here just to not have any more issues with the back. If I decide that I want to change out the back bottoms, I can later. Make them totally updated. I'm not going to be using the original springs. I'm going to be using the red ones, and you'll see why. Now I'm just going to pop this little bad boy out of here. Hopefully there's some cooperation there. Let's see if I can even do this here. Here we go. Okay, clean that off. Alright, let me just clean these springs off because I'm not going to be using these again. A little too loosey-goosey for my taste. Which I never think of doing. And I'm just going to clean this off a little bit. Clean this little mount here, the little mount for the shocks. Oh, this is like really dirty. God, this is worse than having bad leftover Taco Bell from the night before. I don't need that, but I do need this to clean out as much as I possibly can, so when I rebuild the shocks, I have something that I can actually work with, rather than being a complete utter mess. Now let's see. Also, I'm just going to clean this off a little. Get a little bit of some kind of cleanage. Kind of really disgusting looking, really. Well, let me see. I do the best I can. I'm trying to clean up this amount of crap that just kind of like, you want to make sure you try to do the best you can to clean it out, especially into these little mounts for the shocks, only because you don't want to have any problems later on down the road. Regardless, the shocks are still going to get dirty, but still I like to have it clean and taken care of and well ground. Kind of like, you know, it's kind of like dating a girl, you know, you gotta, okay, let's see, that's one, Ah, there we go. Okay, well, at least that one. Alright, okay, you know what? That one's good. I'll leave that there for a second. Now, I'm only banking that, oh, what do you know? There's no rubber in this shock, causing it to leak. Now, this is really disheartening because, uh-oh, where is my little special buddy? Oh, here he is. So I'm just gonna pull this out. I'm gonna pull this little plastic out. Now, what no moron would actually not put rubber O-rings inside the shock itself? Obviously, somebody who was too much in a hurry to build it or didn't care. So, what I'm going to do are simple modification rules that are going to help solve this problem and not have the shocks leak like a potential sieve. Now, what I'm going to do here is I just have this as an empty chamber. There's no seals, no nothing in here. Which now I can actually proceed with the modification of this shock. Which is going to be a simple modification because I've done this before. Now I'm just going to go over everything to make sure everything else is all in line and order. As you can tell, this O-ring, as you can tell, is still in good condition, which is good. That means that this will be used as the bottom structural support, so it stops the leaking from happening. But before I do any of that, I just want to also make sure everything else in the shock was also taken care of properly and not totally utterly destroyed, like a very bad prom date you had gone to your high school or your senior prom. Now I'm just gonna clean that off. I'm just gonna clean these up a little bit, get some structural support in there, like you went into the AA group meetings. However, now I just clean these off a little bit here, just to make sure that this mount section is cleaned off. Gotta make sure, and we gotta have our pops to do it. Now, not saying anything other than that the bad puns, but just cleaning off a little bit of the excess spro. Just making sure that this is all clean. You know, making sure there's no other particles, nothing that's going to be building up or caking up. And just keep that all disassembled right now. Clean off the actual shock part. Now, to begin rebuilding, I'm just going to take this little bad boy and put him back in. So just to see what I'm doing, that's pretty much is what I'm doing. That's the first part you need to put in. Now, the next part is going to be new top O-rings. Let's see here. Now, if I can get one of these out of this bag, which I also bought from the same hop-up place. What I normally do is I'm just putting it in. I mean, this is going to be a hair big for what I'm doing, but it'll act a little bit more appropriate for the ceiling. And then what I'm going to do, I'll start taking one of these little plastic guys here. I'm just going to do it by sliding that back in. And taking this little guy right here and sliding that back into there. Look at that. It's so beautiful. I want to cry. And then what I'm going to do, now this is one thing, some people who build shocks tend to do this really bad. And this is my full legit stadium truck racer, which, like I said in my other videos, have been fully there. So now I'm just going to put this little O-ring back in, which is still in good condition, like I said. So that's going to go in there. Now I just slide that little bad boy in there, and we're good. Now, the fun part, which is very easy to do, just slide this little guy back in, and we should have a full clip-on. There we go. Now to go back like this. Now, for the next little fun part, before I even remotely start oiling shocks, I'm just going to make sure this is good to go. And I'm going to make sure that it's all cleaned up as nice as I can get it. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to get the handle better, but also want to make sure it doesn't sag down like an old lady who's got a disease. You know what I mean? For me, I like to make sure everything is together, up, running, and maintained. I've done this before on numerous times, rebuilding shocks, getting them, getting things ready, keeping it as true vintage as I possibly or I humanly can. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to get that little bad boy back in here, is I'm going to start taking the shock. I'm going to rebuild it back up. I'm just going to get it just a tad, start feathering it in, then I can start screwing it back in there, which will work right about there. Now the next step, I always have to make sure, because sometimes when you build a certain or a specific vehicle, you don't want to have problems. So what I got to do is at some point is I got to turn this around so we have it marginally decent, and having this facing outward so it makes the adjustments very easy, only because I don't want to have any problems later on in the future, or vice versa. So what I'm going to do is take one of these new springs, these new red springs right here, and I'm just going to carefully put it in there like so, so this way you get to see exactly what I'm doing. So why I'm doing this, why it looks kind of like an Italian color olive, it's just because I'm rebuilding it under better performance and better handling and so on and so on and so forth. And not to worry about the track being, also to maintain onto the track too. And I just carefully slide that in there, giving it, teaching a little bit of who's boss. Now I'm just going to put that in there, and there you go. So now this is your new shock, or semi-kinda new. I know the color looks atrocious, it kind of looks like a Christmas color thing, but hey, I'm not complaining. This is going on here, I'm not going to see it ever. Now, what I'm going to do is, now this is where it's crucial. For the colder weathers, I would recommend of course I'm using lawnmower SAE 30 for the cold weathers. Now in the warmer weathers, I will use a 40 weight. A 30 weight is good for the winter. Keep that in mind. So now I'm going to open up this little bad boy, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully pour it in here. And if I get a little bit on here, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But do a little bit of a drop. Not too much, but just enough to fill up the dampers a little bit, and you should be good. I say about a little bit more just to top off. Oh, okay, that's good. Now, I just take a little bit, clean it off. Just want to make sure it's all nice and clean before I start doing anything else. And I'll just grab the top. Now, this poor thing has seen better days. So I'm just going to take the top, and in my case, it'd be lovingly twisting it back on. I want to treat it as if it was a date or even more. Now, before I even do any testing to make sure that the springs really don't get messed up, I'm going to do one thing. Now, what I usually do before I mount the shocks on, I take them individually, and what I do is I carefully move them like so to make sure that the suspension works and it has a nice feel. Now, what I'm going to show you is the difference what I did here. Now, because I did this, you do this like a little bit, like about 5-10 minutes to build up the pressure a little. Oil up the shaft inside, and as you can tell, you want to come out with a clean, almost like a clean shaft You don't want this all gunked up or anything dirty. I'm trying to do the best I can to show you. But don't, you want to make sure it's clean. You want to make sure the shaft in here is all nice and clean. If for some reason you start having problems where the oil shows up, that means you didn't do it right. So this now, what I'm going to do, really quick, now if I can find the wrench, the little Allen wrench here, I'm actually going to turn this around a little bit before I start mounting it back in. Which means I'm going to do the old swaparoo. Turn around the other way for the screw. I would do both. I would actually do another segment video. I only have about 15% left of battery. So I'll show you how this one is done. And then in my next video, I'll show you how I do the other one. Which, you know, this way you don't have the issue of watching a video with a dead battery in it. So what I'm going to do now, since I got that set, I'm just going to tighten this back up again. Not doing any hard adjusting. Not trying to get the shocks like compressed, because you learn that when you over compress or you compress them to a point, the suspension, the steering, things don't go very well. So I always keep it to a minimal to where I can actually see what I've done and not have to worry about it. Now, I get to mount this bad boy back up. Which means I get to do this. Put this little guy in. Make sure he's nice and this one I have to screw back in. Unfortunately, that's something I can really just slide in. It's not like the other shocks I've actually built in the past. So for now, and of course I dropped the paper towels, but that's no big deal. They're just paper towels. I just gotta grab them real quick, and we should be good to go. Now, I get to play with the little nut that goes to this. And we're not talking about my cat either. Yeah, so now I get to do this. Now I can just get that little bad boy right in there. Just to get it properly together. And just kind of get in into it. And then just get this in. We get all that in. I just have to loosen it a little bit just to get like a puzzle. You want to make sure it's all in. You want to make sure it's all nice and snug. And there we go. So, now we get to have fun cleaning off the setup on this. Hopefully and if done right, you should have it looking presentable. Oh yeah. Let's see, where did they have this last? That's right, it was in that hole. Cool. Cow. Let's clean this up a little bit. Make sure everything is there. There we go, nice and clean. Now we just take the existing screw, put that in there. Let me see here. Oh, you little bastard! I can get you in, but I can't. I can get you out, but I can't get you in. Oh, what am I ever gonna do? I'm just gonna tighten this little bad boy up, and we should be good. And no more leakage. No more leaking like a little sieve. I'm going to start tightening this up a little bit here. I know you can't really see the video of me tightening it up, but as you can tell, that one side will be done, and I think this is going to be kind of awesome. You know, fucking, pardon my French again, and according to my stuff like that, but can't help it. I still have, like, I learned some pretty bad mannerisms through my cousins during the years of being in the auto shop with them. And just kind of want to make sure we have everything set. Never very ladylike for me to swear, not the least. Now, as you see now, I'll show you the difference in a second here to show you how I did this. And when I lay it down on the table, now as you can look, that's what you need to have. Now if you want to look at the other side, now which is going to be kind of funny because when you look at the other side, it can and will be a problem if you don't do it right. And the reason why the wheels have this funky stance is because I did just a little bit of modification, not too much. I didn't go hard or anything like that on the modifications. It's just the way how I've had it set. Most of these old stadium trucks always had that kind of wobbly look on their stances, but now I just get to, as you can tell, I'm going to start tightening this back up again. And I will show you the difference on the stance. And it'll be a big improvement. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to tighten it up back with a pair of pliers. Which normally is my redneck version of a ratchet set. Sorta. You know, there's some things out here that never really work out. But at least, you know, you have an idea to what's going to be expected. And I will show you the difference now of the rebuilt versus a saggy old lady. Unfortunately, either way you look at it, well, well, that's interesting. See, Houston, we have a problem. I know what happened to this suspension. I know why it's slow, because now I have to adjust it. Ah, little bastard trying to get cheeky with me, aren't you? Alright, now I have to adjust the suspension on it. And hopefully, at some point, let's see here. I think somebody messed up the suspension on this. Let's see if I might have to bring that down just a little bit. Kind of weird that the suspension on this would actually falter on its own accord. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm still bleeding the shit out of this thing. Why am I not surprised? Oh. I think the shock itself is all ruptured. That's not a good sign. That's definitely not a good sign. Well, unfortunately, because the shocks had ruptured under its own stupidness, very interesting indeed. Never expect that in a million years I would see a shock rupture under its own weight. So which means that something had happened. It shouldn't have not been, the shock should have not been leaking the way it is. So the next alternative, really, I actually have these ones I got from Amazon, which, more possibility, I may end up using these ones. Purple. So I'm going to change them out and use the purple shocks rather than the, I'm going to what they call shock bashing Well, this is going to be fun, which is not a big deal because these are oiled. So I'll fix those in a second here. And with that being said, I'm not remotely happy about the back shocks leaking like they are. So I am going to do what they call shock bashing. I've actually done this before. Unfortunately, the back is not working very well. So this will be a 2-second thing to do. Pop that out. And I am going to take this out, and I'm going to swap them over. Oh, happy day. I can barely contain myself. So, let me just fix one problem. And I'm going to get into the other one to fix, which... yeah, that's not going to work. Well, ain't that just a kick in the teeth? Yeah, so unfortunately I cannot shock bash this. Which is a real suckfest because now the only difference is the shocks are a little bit. No, they're the same. So how can that even be? You know what? Forget about shock bashing. I could just use these ones instead. I just have to see how much oil is in them. Typical. There ain't much oil in here, but I can actually do something with them. Let's take these out real quick. They didn't use 30 weight oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these shocks and do my own rendition. Let me take a look at you here. What do I have in this freaking thing? Okay. Well, maybe. Maybe I could just gut them. Maybe that's not even a good idea to do. So I'm just going to do this really quick then. I'm going to do a quick conversion. Put different weight oil in here and just kind of call it good. I just don't like the idea that they use the very cheap oil. But unfortunately for now, that's going to have to be... oh, wait a minute. Yeah. We could do that. Ah, fuck it. No, I don't like, so I'm going to end up swapping out those shocks. I'll put the black ones in the back, since there's nothing else I can do with this thing. So, as much as I hate to say yes, I know, in my video it's not looking very good, it kind of sucks, but hey, you know what? It was worth a shot. I'm going to empty these out, I'm going to refill them with a better oil, and have it run like a freaking kite than a fucking boinky boinky boinky. But anyways, I'm gonna just change it out real quick. I wasn't too thrilled that, you know, I'm still leaking on that shock there, and that's not a good sign usually when the shock starts giving you problems. You know that the original suspension on it, or however this was maintained, or it could be the 30 plus years of, oh shit, I just have fucking problems with it now. So I'm going to go with a different setup for the back. And run the 30 weight motor oil as promised. And I'm going to sign, seal, and deliver this little bitch. So I guess it's going to be high time I put a different set of backs on here. I'll just do that real quick. And just be on my merry way with it. Yeah. Alright. Crap. First things first. Clean it. Sorry about the long video, and sorry about all this becoming like a potential problem issue. But until I can figure out what has happened. So I'm going to swap the shocks rather than the update. So I'll put my purple ones back on. I know some of you people, some of you guys, viewers, tend to look at this differently, is when the shocks are not going very well according to the way they should, and then when you finally get them to where you want them, they don't work out very well. Which is a really huge suck fest, because now I just got my hands all over in it, but hey, whatever. So, I'm going to swap out the 30 weight. I'll put these purple ones back in. Just a little something extra. I figure I'll extend it until the battery just goes out, so you guys can actually see exactly how this is all going to work out for me on my end. And, of course, I'll use these ones in place of the old ones. Apparently, I can't use a 30-old shock suspension in the back because, oh, well, you know, the shock suspension on it just crapped out. Now, I just got to take this out. I just got to clean this off really quick before I start doing anything to it. Well, so much for my love of my RC10T starting to crap out on me, but yeah, we'll do this. We'll use this setup. Can't use the red springs, but I'll use the black ones, which is fine. Hey, sometimes you're better off using the really good springs, too. And, of course, I'm getting a notification, low battery, but I don't care right now. And I'll just recharge my phone, and I'll re-air again. I think I was better off without the... I was kind of right at first, you know, when I first got this thing, it's like not to use anything but, so. And I'll just swap this out a little bit. Okay, so let's see, 30 weight mortar oil now into these shocks. Whoa. Holy crap. Heh, ain't that some shit. The suspension's so tough, I can't even freaking... Wow. This is like super tough. Holy crap. Well, that's a bad sign. Oh, yeah. A very big difference. Yeah, that's always a good thing, I guess. That's the suspension you want for the back. Just enough to where it's gonna work, and damn, when you depressurize these things, it sucks. It really does. Oh, hey now. It's too much, but you know what? It'll start loosening up a little bit more when you use it. Big deal. It'll stop the back from going completely nuts. Huh. Okay. Well, you know what? Screw it. It's fine. We'll just swap that out real quick. Oh, God. I gotta wash my hands again. But, sorry for about the bad spring. It's just the live and let learn. Still leaving a puddle of its own juices, and I can't use these back springs. So, I am going to fix that little problem. Unfortunately, I don't like going back and redoing my work again, but it is what it is. Kind of giving you guys a little bit of an extra bonus feature a little bit. You know, I know this is a long video. I know that some people don't have the patience to watch a very long video of me trying to fix something that will not cooperate with me. But, you know, accidents happen. And that will work just freaking fine. I just gotta get this apart again. Grown. So, Yeah, this is always a good thing to do. Jeez, my hands are slippery. Oh, God. Why? Why are my hands so freaking slippery? Oh, I know why. Because I'm dealing with the freaking motor oil on this stupid thing. Well, I guess I'll do the backs so we have a drip-free back end, which normally is what I want to do. Not like a, oh, well, the back end's not that drippy. Last I checked, it was. It was runny. It was like a runny nose. And I need to put this back up there so I can actually do that. Oh, boy. Fun, fun, fun until my mama took the T-bird away. Huh? So, just a quick swap over. And I kind of figured the back shocks were just trashed. I think somebody who had this before me must have really did a number on them. And here I thought this was going to be the easy one. Usually, I wonder if this was tampered, like the back shocks were just tampered and not even bothered. Because normally when they rebuild them, they should never leak like this. Not even once. And sometimes when you rebuild stuff like this, you have to take them apart just to see exactly why in hell would they actually do this. As far as like my phone having a low battery, it's fine. Oh boy. Alright, well it seems like that's not going to work very well to my end, so we're not going to... Okay, so the shock is not going to be cooperative with me. Yeah, go figure. Damn thing's leaking all over the fucking place. Like I said, these older shocks, they usually get temperamental, but yeah, I'm all freaking covered in it. This is not good. Can't use them. Well, seems like I'm gonna have to use the front adjustable ones, or the front adjustable ones. Blah, 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 blah. Rephrase the back adjustable ones, which means it's gonna be fun taking this out. Come on, you. Come on, work. Aye, you little bitch. Ugh. I just got pinched by a pair of needle-nose pliers. Assault with a needle-nose plier. Ow, that hurts. Oh, geez, I'm bleeding. I'm not bleeding. I'm just fucking with y'all. So, anywho, that's gonna be pretty much my done deal of the story here. Oh, wait, here we go. Here we go. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Powering off.